Hello and welcome to the top of the world. My friend, he's had a little accident, you might say, and he's accidentally set fire to his tractor, which has not gone well. Didn't go well for anybody, in fact, that day. Anyway, what they did manage to do was keep it under control until the fire brigade arrived, at which point, and because they take forever, they managed to drag it out of the barn, luckily, before the barn went up. Anyway, sorry about the sun. So here we are. I've agreed to do the rebuild and do the upgrade while I'm doing the rebuild. I'll show you what we've got. Now, it's not the biggest tractor in the world, so we don't get too excited, but it is his tractor and it's got a lot of sentimental value. He's known this tractor since 1977, so it actually means a lot to him, but it's not looking its best like just now. So this is a Massey Ferguson 135, I think it was. There you go. Still got it on that side. And there's been a fire in there. So we got a bit of damage in here, but not too much damage. Obviously the windscreen's gone, all the gauges are gone. This is kind of where the fire was, almost impossible to get to unless you've got a fire extinguisher or a hose. The back of the tractor, not touched at all. So I haven't cleaned it up or started to dig into it yet. We only got it here yesterday. Yeah, not good. Did the fire start in the fuse box? Nope, it didn't. It definitely started behind there. Well, we've had a little clue, to be honest. It is in a mess and it's dropping glass. We're going to have to get the vacuum cleaner out here and get all that glass out of the way. So we got a right mess going on in there. Not good. When we uncovered this yesterday, right, we looked at that. Does that mean the fire started in the battery? Yeah, don't know. Hard one to tell. Or is that a result of the intensive fire? So we're going to do a bit of investigation when we start to break this down and clean it up to see if we can find what the cause of the fire was. That's just an assumption looking at that was the battery. But you can see there's a lot of damage. Until we get all these covers off and clean it up, we won't actually know what we're into. Anyway, so that's that task. What we're going to try and do is get as many used parts, because obviously you can't get new parts for these, as we can. Ideally, I'd like a complete wiring loom, if one of those even exists, so we can tear all this out and start again from fresh. But we'll have to wait and see what's available and what we can get. Anyway, it did have a front bucket and a frame on it, but I took that off yesterday. That sits on here and on there and has the buckets and these the return and flow hydraulics for the said bucket. So he uses it for snow clearing and well, any jobs that he needs doing with a little tractor. So we're going to put this one back together, but firstly we're going to clean it up. Right. I'm getting a bit concerned about, in the event it should rain and all this hazardous waste. I've just taken out what's left of the rubber of the screen, and so the first thing we're going to do is clear all this glass up and get as much solid burnt stuff out as we can, and then we can work on taking the front end off. and then getting this jet cleaned so that we can see what we've got and get the contamination off of it, so we can take it apart to start to rebuild it. So that's the plan. Any of you that have been around fires will know the smell. Makes you wonder how the diesel tank didn't go up. Look at that intense fire all around that diesel tank. How did the diesel tank not go? Even the lid's warped, that would have gone. There's nothing in it. It's dry. All right. Okay. Well. Any guesses where the fire started? There'd be a reason for that somewhere. Anyway, there's the seat of the fire. Right there. Right. We should be able to vacuum some more of this up now. And then we'll go from there. So this is melted right off the top of the radiator. Yeah, that was hot. I'm a little confused. I am. That is 100% where the fire started, because there is no fire in there. It's in a concealed compartment. So I'm not quite sure. Not quite. Haven't quite seen anything like that before. The other thing that I'm a little confused about is that he's been wanting to upgrade this to a 12-volt system for ages. From the current 6-volt system, apparently. So that's a 12-volt battery, not a 6-volt battery. I'm not sure if I'm missing something. If I'm missing something, fair enough, I've missed it. But on a 6-volt system, it has a 6-volt battery. And that's a 12-volt battery. Not a very good one. Look at that. Oh, let's get that off of there and get it disposed of. So the diesel tank is empty completely. There's the oil breather. So we soon would have had an oil diesel fire, and that would have been it. East barn and boats and everything else would have gone up. Right, let's vacuum that up some more. So what have I found that I don't like? Well, the earth cable in there is stripped because it's burnt. Right, here's the positive cable. So if we're looking for, you know, a fire caused, it was an electrical fire, but was it caused through something bad happening that caused the battery to short out? Well, this cable coming from the starter motor here, sitting on here, right, now you could say arguably it's burnt. Right, no it's not. I'll put my finger under there and touch the wire. So that has been rubbing on there for years. Right, and worn right the way through that. That's the earthing cable, goes to the back of the starter motor in there. Anyway, oh, let's clean it up some more. Alright, sorry about this. I thought I'd pressed record, I didn't. Anyway, it was only me jet washing, so I'll show you the outcome. So I've got an idea, right? Sometimes I get these random thought processes, can't help it, it's how my brain works. So I've parked these all together in the middle, right, for obvious reasons for anybody that's got a yard. But the other random thought process I had, I thought if I left these lie over here like this overnight, maybe in the morning, I'd have a small baby orange tractor, maybe with Kubota down the side of it. Anyway, just, you know, random thought. Oh, that looks a lot better. A lot better. So now we're clean. I'm just gonna wait for this to dry off, and then we can get this undercover inside where I can work on it no matter what. So that's a lot cleaner than it was. Much better. Now we can start the task of dismantling it. Right. Well, that's not doing anything today. My next job today is sawmill. That's what I'll be doing today, sawmilling. Only because it's windy, it's actually quite cold today, and you see I've still got a pile of, well, I've got a number of piles of snow. There's still snow in the ditches. It's just turned a bit chilly today, so I've got to start working my way through that. And most of that's quite short, unfortunately. So what I'd like to get out of that is the final 2 beams to finish this, because I'm also thinking about this. I've got to finish that, and then I've got to empty that and tear that down and then build a new one there. So yeah, sawmilling. Right, so now it's cleaned up, I've moved it inside, which is where it will sit until it can drive out under its own steam, ready to go back to work. I want to strip off some of the items, specifically the hydraulic lines, brake lines, diesel lines, any kind of lines, so that I can take them all into town and get the whole lot made up. One thing that's concerned me right from the off, and that's the radiator. The top of it was subject to extreme heat, and the top bit's been melted off because it's silver soldered, and there's no water in it. So if there was no water in it and this is silver soldered and this comes off, now then surely it's also melted all the seams, because this is old school. This will be silver soldered together and it'll be no good. So even to the extent that the inside of the cap is burnt. So If it was hot enough to unsolder that, then it's hot enough to unsolder the joints at the top. And a really quick inspection shows me immediately things are not right. Right, that's solder. This is a solder joint underneath. All the fins underneath are all soldered in. If we come round to this side, we can see, having added water, it's leaking along that joint. That don't look good. Oh, well, that kind of proves my point. So this is a solder joint all the way along here, and you can see melted solder here. This joint has been compromised all the way along, so that means it will no longer hold pressure. And because it's a pressurised vessel, this is where this got unsoldered from before, and it was completely empty of all fluids. So I thought I would just fill it up, and yeah, this is where the heat was worse. This also corresponds with the diesel tank. This side was worse hit, and you know, we're right here, there. So the fire was effectively trapped. The fire was emanating from there. This was the diesel tank on top, but the fire was basically trapped in here by the top of the tractor. And so it all burnt underneath. So this has to come out. In the UK, I could have taken it to a man I knew straight away that would have re-soldered it, pressure tested it, and given it back like it was new. I don't know if I can get that done here, to be honest, and I don't know if I can get another one. So I'm going to remove the radiator and report this to the owner. I've made it quite clear once I dug into this that it's so extensively damaged, I don't think it can be done for the budget that's been allowed. Made worse by the fact that we already can't obtain a screen from a breaker's yard, so I've taken out the screen surround. That is going to have to go down to a glass company, and they're going to have to make a screen for it. Okay, I do have a lot of parts. He has given me a lot of new parts already. New alternator, new gauges, new master wiring loom, and we're going along the way. But you know, it's like the heater here is destroyed. It's no point in having a tractor here if you haven't got a heater, albeit I have one. Anyway, so that's very disappointing. Yeah, that's going to need repairing there. You would have thought I'd have been good enough to do that. I don't know. I guess let's get it off and cleaned up and find out whether I can do that or not. Is it? It's very hard to see whether that's a leak from within there. I don't think the heat was that extreme down there. It mainly flashed over in the top, so I can't see any evidence of that on this side. But there's very clearly more evidence of that there. Now what was that gone in the water? Something. And something else. Okay. Heater core out of here. This is fused, melted to many things. All very badly melted. There. Look at that. I think it's safe to say that is no use. There we go. There's a good view of what I've just found. It's 2 hydraulic lines, lots of additional small bits of wiring. I have no clue. Every rubber washer on there has burnt off. Probably that ball joint is no good either. Now let's get it cleaned up.